Good morning, dear learners. You are again welcome back in bonding in solids and X-ray diffraction, lecture number 2. In last lecture, what we have seen, that I will revise in short. Then we come to this lecture number 2. In last lecture, we have seen there are major types of solids. Formally, the major types of solids are ionic solids, molecular solids, covalent solids, metallic solids, etc. Then now we discuss about the ionic, molecular, covalent, metallic solids in details. First of all, we see what about the bond, that is type of bond, that is ionic bond. Today we are discussing the different types of bonds. So first one is ionic bond. Ionic bond we are going to study now. Ionic bond is a type of chemical bond where two atoms or molecules are connected to each other by electrostatic attraction. What is ionic bond? No doubt it is a chemical bond in which two atoms or molecules are connected to each other by electrostatic attraction between them. Ionic bonds form when a non-metal and metal exchange electrons. One more point you remember. There is a formation of ionic bond whenever there is a what? Exchange of electrons in between metals and non-metals. An ionic bond is a type of chemical bond formed through electrostatic attraction between two oppositely charged ions. Again, it is more simple. What is the ionic bond? It is nothing but a chemical bond formed between two oppositely charged ions, cations and anions, So it is due to an electrostatic attraction between two oppositely charged ions. In another way, ionic bonds are formed between cation, which is usually a metal, and an anion, which is usually a non-metal. Ionic bonds are formed between metals and non-metals, that is cations and anions. See here, figure. There are two elements, sodium and fluorine. Sodium means 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There are total 11 electrons in its electronic configuration. First orbit 2, second orbit 8, and third orbit is what? 1. As there are 3 shells, so it belongs to third row in the periodic table, modern periodic table. Here also you see first 2, second cell 2, 4, 6 and 7. There are 7 electrons and 3 shells, so that we can say that fluorine is also belongs to third row in modern periodic table. One more interesting thing is what? There are total number of 7 electrons in the electronic configuration of fluorine. So the fluorine is placed in 7th group in the modern periodic table. And here there are 2, 4, 6, 8. Last orbit contains only what? 1 electron. So this belongs to first group. First group, third row. Here third row and 7th group. So those elements which are to the right, they are said to be what? They are placed in right, they are non-metals. The elements which are placed in the extreme left in the periodic table, they are said to be metals. So in this way, sodium is a metal, fluorine is a non-metal, and there is the exchange of 1 electron from sodium to fluorine, and formation of a compound takes place, that is sodium fluoride. And this compound is formed by what? The exchange of 1 electron from sodium to fluorine. And from sodium, 1 electron is going to exchange with the fluorine. And here there is a formation of bond takes place, that is nothing but the ionic bond. I will show you one more figure so that easily you can understand. See, the attraction of oppositely charged atoms and the transfer of electrons leads to the formation of an ionic compound. Here same figure is shown here. 1 electron is transformed. There is a transformation of this electron from sodium to fluorine, sodium to fluorine, and sodium to chlorine also you can take example, magnesium to oxygen, and so on. So we obtain, because of the transformation of electrons from metal to non-metal, we obtain a compound such as sodium chloride, magnesium oxide, etc. And the formation of ion between their atoms or molecules is nothing but what? Ionic bond. Now let's turn towards next number, that is covalent bond. First we have seen ionic bond. It is because of the exchange of electrons between oppositely charged particles, that is from metals to non-metals. Now let's turn toward the covalent bond. Now what is covalent bond? Covalent bond is a type of chemical bond like ionic only, but difference is what? That you should concentrate. Covalent bond is a type of chemical bond where two atoms are connected to each other by sharing of 2 or more electrons. Best example I will give you about the sharing. Suppose you are going to travel and you are waiting for auto. Auto rickshaw or taxi. If already 2 passengers are in it and you are third one, it means what? You are sharing. You are sharing with the other 2 passengers. So in this way, covalent bond is formed. It is a bond where 2 atoms are connected to each other by sharing of 2 or more electrons. In previous case, it was by exchange of electrons. ये atom में से उठना, दूसरे atom में जाना. But here you are sharing with each other. So covalent bond is the type of chemical bond where 2 atoms are connected to each other by the sharing of 2 or more electrons. There in ionic exchange and here sharing. Covalent bonds form when electrons are shared between two non-metals. One more point you remember. Ionic between metal and non-metal, and in case of covalent it is shared between two non-metals. And you know, in modern periodic table, I mean mostly is periodic table, all the metals are placed in the extreme left except zero group. So here you remember covalent bond exists between two non-metals only because of sharing of electrons. Here I will show you one example. See here. What is this? Here one electron of carbon and one electron of hydrogen. There are 4 electrons in the outermost orbit of carbon and 1 electron in the outermost orbit of hydrogen. And this hydrogen is going to share. I mean electrons of hydrogen and carbon, they are going to share with each other. And bond is formed. And due to this bond, a solid, a compound is formed, that is CH4. Methane, you know it is. Methane is formed due to covalent bond. Because there is a sharing of electrons, you see carefully in figure. It is formed because of what? Sharing. Now let us turn towards, from this figure it is clear that covalent bond is going to form between two non-metals. Here red color electron is from hydrogen and this violet color electron is shown from carbon. This red color electron shown, while violet color electron shown, they share with each other and there is a formation of covalent bond. A covalent bond involves electrons being shared between the atoms. The most stable state for an atom occurs when its valence electron shell is full. So atoms from the covalent bonds sharing their valence electrons, they achieve a more stable state by filling their valence electron shell. A given non-metal atom can form a single, double or triple bond with another metal. There is a double bond, single bond and triple bond takes place. Single non-metal atom can form. Which type of bond is formed between the atoms depends upon the number of valence electrons. So depending upon the number of valence electrons, which type of bond is formed, that we can say either single bond, double bond or triple bond. Metallic bond is, now let's turn towards metallic bond. Metallic bond is term described by collective sharing of C of valence electrons between several positively charged metal ions. Metallic bonding is a type of chemical bonding and is responsible for several characteristics properties of metals, such as their shiny luster, their malleability, and their conductivities for heat as well as electricity. The both metallic and covalent bonding can be observed in some metal samples. For example, covalently bonding gallium atoms tend to form crystal structures that held together via metallic bonds. The mercurius ion can also exhibit the metallic and covalent bonding. In next lecture, we discuss in details about the metallic bonding and how they affect total number of. So what are the factors affecting the strength of metallic bonding? We see in next lecture. Thank you.